So, hi, welcome to Grown Podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Glory.
and we're here with,
I'm Tony.
I'm Danielle, and you're with Dead Posey.
and we're asking some questions say about their new album, Are You in a Cult? So, congrats on that, by the way. How do you guys feel about the response to it so far?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming since we've been a band for 8.5 years and never had a full length. So the fan response has been great.
It's been awesome. Yeah.
And it just feels an accomplishment for us as a band and artist as well. So no complaints.
It's been great, hearing the fans say they're really enjoying it as like a body of work. We're in such a singles era these days, which is great. And we love singles, and we're totally fine.
But not as much as an album.
Yeah, there's still something said
Right.
for that. And it's what's really cool is hearing the fans really respond to that as a collection of songs. So,
And we actually just asked them the other week what their favorite song is, and a lot of them are saying Dark Side, which is fun because that's one of our favorites on there.
Aw.
So it's resonating, and we're
Mhm.
very proud of that.
what's been cool too is a lot of people have also picked a bunch of songs. Like it's that one's getting a lot of requests or whatever, but people have their own favorites, and it's nice to see that everything's being represented as well.
That's fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
right.
Well, the album fucking rips.
Yes,
Thank
Thank you very
Of
much.
course. Hell
of
yeah.
course. So, is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
There is. Are You in a Cult came about in 2020. We were watching a lot of cult shows like the Nexium cults.
Yeah, the
I
Vow,
don't know if you
things
guys
like
have
that.
heard of that, the Vow,
Yeah,
right?
I think it was the
Yeah.
name of it.
Along others is Charles Manson. America with the politics can feel cultish.
Certainly.
So it just kind of came about, and thought it would be a fun thing to have as an album title, as a question like that. It can be provocative, and it really tied into how we were feeling. And so it just naturally came about like magic. And that's
Yeah.
kind, because that also happens when we write sometimes too. An idea of a song or a lyric kind of comes about, and it feels like the universe just gave it to you, and you run along with it.
Yeah.
I think we were also writing the song Cult. Did that come first, or did the title?
No, the title
Okay.
did come first.
The title came first,
Mhm.
and then we actually kind of built
Yeah.
a song also around that. But we just thought this would be a cool title for the album, because it does feel like there's just little mini cults everywhere, even if you kind of don't realize it.
Well, even in like the health and wellness and everything could be a cult to a degree. So
People just follow one kind of figure, kind
Yeah.
of maybe without questioning it as much as they should.
Mhm.
It's sort of a running theme in some of
Yeah.
what we talk about.
So we thought it would be fun to ask the question.
Mhm.
Album title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it gives
I fuck with it.
people something to ponder the entire time they're listening through.
Yeah.
That's what
Am
we
I
hope.
in a cult?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I? Yeah.
Hmm.
Am I listening to this one person a little too much right now?
Even
Exactly.
the rock scene can feel like a cult
Sure.
sometimes too. So it is interesting when you actually think about it.
Like
So-
fandoms of things, which is, it's great that people are fans of things.
Films,
Yeah, bands, of course,
Mhm.
artists,
video games.
yeah, any type of person with some kind of influence and authority can
Mhm.
kind of bring cultish aspects to it.
Well, even like that, I don't know if you guys saw that documentary about Teal Swan, that holistic, it was this
Yeah, you watched that one. I
guru
haven't seen it.
holistic lady.
Mhm.
It's it's pretty interesting. I'll just give you that. But that also one of the things that we saw after we already had the title of the album.
Yeah.
And it always seems to pop
Yeah.
up. And so we're like, oh, that goes with the album.
Aw.
So
Yeah.
happy
Oh,
with
yeah.
our
Fuck yeah.
So can you guys tell us a little bit about your writing process for the album?
Yeah.
It comes in all different ways. Like I said with the album title, sometimes it's just a word or a saying. Sometimes you're just inspired by a thing that happened, and it just comes to you. The whole thing comes to you lyrically. As far as the sonic side, sometimes Tony will play different guitar licks and put together some kind of beat type things that create some of that sonic vibes that we're looking for, and they go perfectly with a lyric that I might have thought of, and we're like, oh, that actually goes together. Let's play with that in that sandbox. And sometimes it's just both of us sitting in the room on the acoustic guitar, and we just start playing, and stuff just kind of comes out, and that's how Dark Side came about. Was it there a lyric, or did we just
That one I actually had that instrumental part kind of on a really rough demo of it. But then I think you had Moonstruck Lunatics.
I liked the saying Moonstruck Lunatics because it basically means when it's a full moon, and we've all heard that a full moon apparently can affect our whole system because we're made up of water, and
it totally does.
The
like
tides.
Weird stuff happens. Weird shit happens.
And it's a real thing. My brother actually used to be an EMT, and during a full moon there would be an uptick of people getting sent to the hospital. So there is a saying, I believe, Moonstruck Lunatics, or it's called Moonstruck, and I read the definition of that, and that we played off of that. And plus we love the whole vampire at night vibes to begin with, and then Bonnie and Clyde, Romeo and Juliet, Joker and Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Not the best lovers together because they toxic. Can be chaotic and so
depend on each other.
To answer your question, a song can come from a lot of different things, and the best ones are the ones that come from life, and you don't really have to try too hard to think about what to write. I've never been the type that wants to think about like, oh, what should we write about? It's usually been very natural. There's so much to express, and that's why songwriting is such a wonderful therapeutic experience.
Yeah, exactly. No reason to make shit up if you're actively living life and feel like you have something to say.
Yeah.
And Danielle always has a lot to say, and what was really cool
for better or worse.
What was cool about this process with these songs in particular was a lot of them, the early versions, were all kind of written sort of together, dating back to the end of 2020 and into 2021, just on kind of a tear. And it's cool that they all come out, even though we've been kind of sprinkling some of them as singles over the last few years. It's great to have them all come together because they really did come from kind of one, one time and one place. And I think this was a good way for us to stretch and kind of lean into what we've kind of discovered that Dead Posey is really about, especially from playing live. Some of the earliest Dead Posey stuff, a lot of that was written before the band was like really playing live regularly. And most artists can tell you, once you start getting it in front of people and doing that as really part of what you do, it sort of changes things for the better.
Oh yeah, and it completely changes things. Because you really are thinking of moments more. And even if you don't put them in the song, when you go to put your live set together, you're making even longer extensions in the set to create that energy and vibe for the live show. But we definitely kept that in mind when we were writing this album for those moments, and just we wanted to make sure that what we were writing would feel good when we were performing it live. So
damn right.
He didn't mention this yet, but we had a TV on in the studio when we were writing a lot, especially during the plague times. And we had a lot of festivals playing on the TV.
Like other bands.
Big rock festivals, and like just all that energy. I know Dark Side doesn't fall into that category, but a lot of the other songs like Zombies and
She Went Bad, Nightmare.
Welcome to Nightmare. And we got inspired just by seeing that live energy. So that was a fun little aspect.
That was a thrust of a lot of this. It's like no one can play live right now. And that definitely fueled the process.
Absolutely.
For sure, I can imagine. Yeah. So what song off the album took longest to write, and then which one is each of your own personal favorite?
Boy. Let's start with the favorites first.
Okay.
Dark Side and Scar are tied for me. So I don't know if that's okay to do a tied version, but
That's fine. I'll
It's
take it.
okay.
I'll take it.
We'll get like top 5 sometimes. It's like there's 10 songs on the album, bud.
It's like, hey.
It's like Scar and Dark Side, right? Scar is about your inner demons and dealing with that, and then Dark Side's kind of that your ride or die
finding strength with someone.
Yeah, for others.
Yeah,
so.
others. Yeah. Dark Side is definitely not just because it's like the sort of the one that came out, like one of the ones that came out with the album, and it's sort of the newest to some people. That we always knew that was a special one. So I don't want to just say the same thing. I probably that, but I love She Went Bad. It gets my rock excitement going. It's really hard to pick a favorite. I'm sure every band says the same thing. Favorite kid, and some of them maybe are a bit. We've had the recordings done longer, so they're a bit older. Like Russian Roulette, I think the first one we finished for this album, and that even feels like it's from a kind of slightly different time. But we still love playing it. So.
What was the hardest one? I'm trying to think.
Or like the longest.
Our last EP, I know what that was. But from this one, what was like the Frankenstein where it felt like we kept on reimagining?
Well, Welcome to the Nightmare, because again, we wrote all the initial version of a lot of these songs at one time, and a lot of them kind of stayed. Like the core writing didn't drastically change. Some things changed, and then of course recording and putting it all together does, but the one that changed the most with the writing might have been Welcome to the Nightmare, because that used to be called something different.
Did it feel hard though?
Totally different verses.
Roller from the EP, that was, I don't even know how we got through that because we were just going back.
We like revised it like 80 times.
But that was
my god.
I'm exaggerating.
Yeah.
Well, Welcome to the Nightmare kind of did that, because we played it live like a year ago. It was totally different with a different title. So I'm really glad we pushed that.
Originally, that was called Welcome to the Shit Show, and we were hearing people use the word shit show so many times. We're like, ugh.
All right, it's played out.
Overused. Yeah.
It didn't feel authentic enough for us, and we're like, this isn't making sense. And then we finally fell on Welcome to the Nightmare, and we're like, aha.
And the song,
think about the first place.
The song got harder too. It got more like
because
harder.
We played it live, and at download and stuff, and we were feeling like, oh, it could hit a little harder.
Yeah.
And so that's the great thing when you can play your songs that you haven't released yet, because you can make good tweaks to go back in the studio and make it better.
I think Scar's one, at least not with the writing, but with the track and the music of it, changed a whole lot from
that wasn't hard though.
Our first demo. Yeah, that had a nice flow to it, but it did change a lot. So
we wanted more of a beat because it started out as a piano song.
Right. Still like that version as like an alternate.
Yeah.
So maybe
maybe one day. Hint, nudge, nudge, right?
we do a lot. We work with our publishing company that gets us placements on film and television, so something like that could go well in that vein as well. And that's what's cool about what we got going on for our own stuff, is anything that we make, we can also alter it to be in placements for film and television.
We actually just heard a really sick working remix of Dark Side that's kind of got some sort of cinematic. It's someone we've worked with before on another remix, and kind of just opens it up to different things. I mean, we love the original version, but it's cool to hear different takes.
Yeah, it's fun how our career's been as this band, because I used to also do acting and stuff, so it is cool to see our music that we make be in films and television. So it's not like you're a band, you play live, and that's it. There's also this other sector where we're tied to the film and television side of things, which is fun.
Absolutely.
Well.
And the early first wave of Dead Posey kind of was helped by placements and TV shows and things like that. So
and it's great that you guys obviously have a team working to help with that, because I know it's something that bands dream about, but not it's a very hard shell to crack, because it is so particular. Like, it's got to fit the scene and things like that that you're pitching for.
Well, and especially some of our stuff from this album, some of it might not work, but because you can have someone that can kind of remix it, kind of like a remix in a more theatrical approach, then they can use it. They can use the lyrics. Like She Went Bad most of the time might not work unless it's like a WWE placement or something.
Mhm.
But if they use the lyrics and the voice for a more cinematic, it then could be for anything, you know.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
really cool when they do the remix stuff. Because just because we made it a certain way, it can get remixed to actually work better for film and television, and you're still getting that discoverability from
Mhm.
potential new fans because they're still gonna be like, oh, what song is that? And then they can hear the actual original. So
Exactly.
it's a pretty cool little ecosystem that we kind of got lucky early on as a band that we
Mhm.
fell into with who we're working with. So
Mhm.
we're fortunate with that.
Sure.
Absolutely. Hell
Damn
yeah.
right. Hell yeah.
So how did the track list for the album come about? Did you guys write the opener be the opener, closer be a closer, shuffle it and see what fits? What was that process like?
We did the what feels
We played
good because we played a lot of it live.
Mhm.
And so we were already kind of thinking, we were a few steps ahead. So by the time it got to what is going to be the track list, we'd already played it live a certain way that felt really good. So
Yeah.
it was pretty easy, actually.
We knew a few
Yeah.
of them wanted to have, you know, closer to the top.
Mhm.
We knew we probably wanted to start with either Zombies or Welcome to Nightmare.
Mhm.
And yeah, we just kind of, you know, moved things around and saw what felt right. And
But playing
was
it
pretty easy.
live, if for any artist or band, anytime you can play the songs you want on an album live
It's always
before
good.
the album comes out, it's ideal because then you really get a sense of how it feels, and then you're guaranteed, oh, that's probably going to feel good if someone were to listen to it
Yeah.
track for track. So
Yeah.
Exactly. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. All right. And would you guys be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this album? I know you guys said it was over the course of a couple years, long time coming, but if you're able to kind of pin it down to a general mindset.
I'm gonna go for that.
I feel because we were cohesively, all the world was dealing with the plague,
In the
of
beginning of it. Yeah, very
COVID
beginning.
times. It is an interesting mindset that we're all in. And then,
Mm-hmm.
you know, living in America with the political side of things added an extra layer to that, on
Yeah.
top of, you know, being a woman in the rock music scene as a whole other layer too.
Yeah.
So there was just a lot of things that just were so inspiring to write about and therapeutic that it was quite easy to a degree, to be in a certain headspace to be able to write about a lot of things that we were thinking about and feeling. So that's how I felt about it. How did
Yeah.
you feel about it?
Why, thank you.
On the spot.
Well, I think, you know, especially with this album, but throughout the whole career of the band so far, you know, we still feel like we have a lot to kind of like prove and show the world, you know, and like, hey, look, we can do this, not just the world, but to ourselves. And I think that's a driving thing for this album. Like this, look how far we can take this. You know, we're not sounding like our very first stuff. We're evolving, and you know, we want to bring this to everybody, and it kind of has like a fire under us, and I think that comes through.
Yeah.
I hope it comes through in the music. It's certainly when you're actually creating the music, you're not necessarily actively thinking, but I think it really pushes us, that kind of sense of like we haven't done it all yet, and we have more to do and more to show. And
well, there's a magic in being scrappy and being kind of like a feral street cat that you're not just given everything on a silver platter. Even
we've had
within
to fight for stuff, you know.
Exactly. Even within the music industry, we're not just getting handouts left and right.
Got a lot of ups and downs.
We're not getting people like helping us get pushed, you know. It's a lot of being scrappy and having tenacity and just taking little bites one step at a time. Instead of getting big wins, we're getting small little steps, but we're keeping on that direction, and we're trying to keep that focus of that. And I feel that can create a lot of opportunity for inspiration for writing in the studio,
Yeah.
especially. So as far as that goes, I guess I'm just adding to what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
artists just have a lot to do these days, and it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
great time. You know, it's a great time to be an artist because there's so many opportunities. There's so many tools to like exercise your creativity.
Mhm.
But a lot of it falls on, you know, an artist's shoulders to kind of really run a lot. Even with good teams and stuff, there's so much. It really
Right.
comes back to that. And
Yeah,
so,
it's like the music industry is not really in the business to develop bands and artists anymore. And
not as much.
you know, when we got signed 6 years ago, we were under the impression that that's still how it was. You were getting developed when you got signed, and that definitely was not the case. You did get opportunities that you wouldn't get without being signed. But for all bands and artists, it's you're not getting developed anymore by these people. So
Yeah.
you really have to do a lot on your own and have a lot of strength on your own and do your thing. And then financially, if it makes sense for you in your career to sign a deal, knowing that it's a business deal, they're not going to develop you, but they could create opportunities for you. And if it's worth you to give, you know, 80 something % of your master's forever to them, then cross that bridge when it gets there. But I would say the biggest no-no for bands and artists now that I've had to learn over time is no knight in shining armor is going to come save you and sign you, and then Hollywood's going to open up for you. It's not like that. It's just not like that. And
things are so sort of random now, you know, but you can do things like strategically, but there's a lot of things you're just kind of rolling the dice and seeing what clicks, or even down to like what post gets thousands of views and which one gets 200 views. And
that's
every artist has to deal with
that. We're all algorithms, of course. So you just have to just take everything with a grain of salt as much as you can, and just keep the main focus on the why. Why are you doing this? And, you know, get your finances in order as best as you can, because I know everyone's struggling with that side of things just in general, even if you're not an artist. And it's all it can take a lot of money to tour and, you know, even get video content. So it's like the more you can do on your own in the beginning, the better. We've learned how to edit our own videos. Would we rather being able to put some things off to people? Of course.
And we've worked with good people in the past,
right?
Too.
Time is money, but it is good to be able to know how to shoot your own stuff, edit your own stuff. If you can write your own music and produce your own music in the beginning, because things could start being very costly. And then, you know, it would be a sad travesty if the only people in the music industry that continue to succeed are Nepo babies or kids from trust fund families. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be really sad. So there's a lot of artists that don't have those extra privileges. So these kind of things can be a deterrent for them over time, because it is hard.
Certain things get more expensive.
Being an artist these days is no longer just being an artist. It's being a jack of every single trade under the sun throughout the music industry. And now things you didn't like, now you have to be comfortable in front of a camera and a content person, and like you're basically a glorified YouTuber, and like we thought we left that shit in the past, you know?
And a marketer. You know, we've had a craft course in even marketing. But on the glass half full, it's such an empowering thing on one hand too, because now you don't have to just wait for the knight in shining armor record XYZ to sign you, or this magical manager that's going to take you to the promised land.
You can make a song today that, you know, millions of people will love.
It's harder. It's definitely easier if you have that team being able to prop you up and push you through all the noise, because there is a lot of bands and artists, but there is power in the fact that you do have a lot of those tools in the palm of your hands, that you can go a long way. And it still has to be the focus on the song.
Well, and I was going to say,
the song still has to be the most important thing, because at the end of the day, yes, there's some crappy music that definitely gets passed and gets blown up, but then where is it 5 seconds later?
Exactly.
So I feel that artists and bands should definitely keep the focus on the song first and foremost, because that can stand the test of time, and the rest can fall into place later.
And we always came from kind of a DIY place anyway. Like all of our music with very little exception, is basically the two of us doing it all, from initial songwriting to the final release, you know.
And it's not easy.
No,
Right.
it's not.
Yeah,
But
it's not
since we
easy.
came from that anyway, even from the beginning, it's not a huge leap to have our hands in everything. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of work, but you know, it's worth.
Exactly. It's the grind.
One thing I'm glad we left like way in the beginning of the pandemic are the baseless bullshit songs that would blow up out of nowhere, and then where are those artists 2 days later? Like,
Did
obviously,
I just write the song of the summer?
yeah, obviously we still
Never had
see
to
that
do
on
that.
occasion, but you know, people have realized that you have zero staying power with the viral moment that is just a baseless song that really is not relatable to anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
And you feel kind of bad for them because like they're just doing their thing and like we're probably promised the world, and then a year later,
seasoned artists, yeah, it's not because they might have blown up with maybe not the greatest song. You know, there's still so much room for them to even grow.
Sure.
But what's sad is a
Absolutely.
lot of those during the pandemic got signed, and so they immediately go, "Oh, it's that easy. Push a button, and now like I'm signed, and everything's great." And then they get dropped just
because
as
they're
fast.
expected to do that again and again. And
Well, and then it starts making
Sorry.
a lot of artists probably defeated
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. So there's something to be said when maybe there's a slower burn, but it can actually reinforce the strength in the foundation.
And we see that with fans, you know, like that's been so great this year to really see that people that have been following us for 6 years, people that just got into us a month ago or yesterday. You know, and,
or even before we started touring, because we started touring in 2018 when we got signed to our old record
the first
label.
EP came out the year before that,
and that's when we had an upflux of fans that we started seeing when we're like, oh, this is really cool that now that we're touring, instead of just playing a few local shows, it's really making a difference. And then also the first flux of fans was before that era. When we were starting to get some more placements and stuff, we were seeing a little stir of some new fans. So it's really cool to see the fans from that time 6 years ago, and then in the last 6 years, just how much growth has happened. It's kind of endless. It's pretty interesting. The being online, just the discoverability on top of touring, it's does wonders.
Absolutely. So for this question, I want each of you to describe the album for new listeners in 3 words, no more, no less. 3 words each, 6 total.
Who goes first?
You.
Epic. I know that's lame, but I'm gonna do it.
Classic. Yeah.
Emotional and empowering. I did it all with.
Ooh, thank you.
There you go.
See, beautiful, flawless.
Triple E's.
Triple E's.
Dark, moody, and empowering.
Wonderful. Fuck yeah.
Wait,
all right.
Did that one.
Oh, well then, okay.
Excellent.
No.
You guys can share, you know.
Yeah, we'll both take empowering.
We'll take
that. It's okay. It's okay.
Personalities pretty well too, I think, right there.
For sure. And are you guys able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments during the creation of the album, positive or negative?
I mean, the only thing besides the fact that it was the plague during that time that created where we couldn't go out or anything, so it was very just much in the studio, and there's not really a way to decompress except for going on a walk outside. And as far as our dynamic as partners, you know, we're also married, so there's when you are together and you work together, there's a dynamic that has to happen for everything to work positively. And we just are very, very passionate people to begin with, and very particular about how we want things to be. So put us in a room together with, you know, writing songs, we're going to have our different ways of wanting it to sound and be. And so it's definitely our strength though as well, because we challenge each other constantly, but it also can get frustrating sometimes in the moment, of course, because everybody sometimes probably would be happy if everyone just said yes to them. But we definitely don't do that to each other. We definitely challenge each other and be like, no, like it could be like this, or let's try that.
It's a true collaboration. It's a true partnership,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously that has its tough times, like with anything, when you're deep and very, like you said, passionate about everything. But at the end of the day, it's mostly good. And when we get that like buzz of like something we just made that we just are loving,
Yeah,
and
there's
just
nothing like
can't
it.
wait to play it live, or great show or anything, it really does make it worth it for sure.
Damn right.
Oh yeah. So for this question, I want you guys to picture you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
So we're at Love's gas station. That's one of the
Okay.
gas stations on the road. Do you guys know that gas station?
Loves? Yeah, of course.
I've heard of it. Yep.
Mhm.
It's definitely a good one.
Where are you guys based?
I'm in New Jersey.
Virginia, East Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I believe my usual choice is some kind of, it's not that fun, some bag of nuts of some kind.
That can be fun.
I'm more of a obsessed with coffee and cold brew and
Bringing it
stuff.
back to coffee.
So
as we established.
I'm never usually like, oh, I can't wait to get to the gas station. But I will grab like a bag of nuts or something.
Yeah, you like your Starbucks coffee. Like we all do.
Yeah. But I usually like to find local coffee shops around town.
It's a good shit.
It's more fun
in town.
But obviously I don't want to promote them though, for obvious reasons that we've all dealt with.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's that. What is your snack?
My snack, choice? Well, if I'm being, if I'm not being good to myself, I might get like combos.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Pizza combos, just absolute, probably garbage for you.
Oh, it's awful for you, but it tastes so good. So
yeah, Twix is my favorite candy bar because it's basically a cookie, and
you'll get those.
I love
sometimes.
Cookies.
Yep.
If I'm trying to be kind of like healthy, which I am, it's gonna be some kind of a nuts are good, mixed nuts, something nice like that.
But the Love's bathrooms are perfect.
They are. They have a good bathroom.
Yes.
Solid bathroom.
That's great.
Solid, yeah. To 5-star bathrooms.
Oh yeah, only quality bathrooms at Love's. Yeah.
We always say whenever we're on tour and we like go someplace, it could be a restaurant, it could be a gas station, it could be anything, a venue. If there's the slightest thing, the door was locked, it's not 1 star. 1 star and Yelp. Don't actually
1
do
star.
it.
Yeah.
It's the running joke.
Yeah, that's so fucking
That's great.
funny. Yeah. So for these last couple questions, we're actually going to shift away from music, if that's okay with you guys.
No problem.
Great. So we're actually going to go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
I thought you meant the record label.
I know.
No, we haven't gotten that mix up in a while. It makes me smile. Yeah. Shout out Snoop.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I guess I would be on death row because someone maybe killed someone I loved and I had no choice but to seek revenge.
Take care of them.
Reasonable. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, you would get justice for sure.
Yeah.
Vigilante
definitely
justice.
A justice warrior for sure when it comes to that kind of stuff. But that's not the question. My last meal would probably be drink.
I mean, I probably know
would
this.
be some kind of red blend wine or a tequila.
Did they give you wine
soda
for your
water
last meal? Do we know
On
that?
ours-
We do.
on ours we
On
do,
our
yeah.
death row, we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I would be having that or a tequila with some jalapenos and some soda water. And then to eat, it would be some kind of Mexican dinner because I love
Mexican food.
I'm vegan, and so it's easy to find good options at Mexican food restaurants.
Damn right.
feel like I love the hot sauces and all that stuff, and mixing guac, so definitely would be my choice.
And you would definitely.
Well, if they're allowing me to have an after snack, yeah, popcorn's my kryptonite.
I mean, if they're giving you
solid. Yeah, you could have some popcorn.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Like after
Homemade popcorn.
Mine would probably be either a really great burger or a pizza.
Yeah,
Nice.
solid.
And, let's just keep it simple.
Exactly. Some classic.
Yes.
Yeah, ranch. I'm not the type that I need the ranch to enjoy the pizza. Just like a good New York slice.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah, solid.
All right. So if you could live in one fiction world for a week, where would you live?
You can go first.
like a word, like a universe or like anything, right? Like, sheesh, that's a tough one. We could stay with the crime vibe, like GTA. I don't know,
hell yeah.
like just driving around. Not that I want to like mow people down or run people,
but if it's GTA,
good
might as well.
there.
Radio all the time. People are just talking to themselves, walking down the street.
Exactly. Why not? Why not?
Beautiful,
Yeah.
Vice City,
Yeah.
I'd say The Wizard of Oz.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, solid.
Okay.
I remember watching that movie a million times growing up and just being obsessed, obviously, as soon as it turns to color and Yellow Brick Road and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
The Wizard of Oz.
Would you be
Wonderful.
walking down the Yellow Brick Road with your
I
crew?
was Dorothy for Halloween one year.
There you go.
My mom made homemade, she used to make our homemade Halloween costumes, and she made ruby red slippers, and she took red rhinestones and rhinestones the entire both shoes.
Goddamn.
And they were beautiful. Like she
Wow.
could have been making a killing in this era.
Damn, that's time, that's effort, that's sweat and tears.
It is.
Your mom, I have to shout out the awesome cake that she and her friend made.
She's the
for our
woman of
album
many
release.
talents.
For our album
Fuck yeah.
party. Let me hear. This
really
might be
see that
backwards. That's a cake.
That's a cake?
That's a freaking cake. Hold on a second.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Look at that.
That's fucking
great. It was
That's
great.
fucking oh shit, that's fucking awesome.
That's
Great
fucking
on that
badass.
album cover right there.
That's
So,
awesome.
You're talking to a
Shout out.
master baker over there, Glory.
I have a baking business.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
dead ass. Yeah, so that's really fucking cool.
Check it out.
Yeah, you gotta send us a link.
I don't know. This is your interview, I'm not trying to.
Off the air then.
I don't get to
Yeah.
put Glory on the spot very often because baking doesn't come up
It doesn't
in
come up at
interviews
all.
very often. So I'm loving this.
It's the perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Exactly. God damn it. Okay. Anyways. So I have the honor of asking the last question. Every single person we've spoken to has actually said it is the most important question. What is your favorite color?
I mean, black.
So, hypothetically, if I said I don't count black as a color, what would you like your second favorite be?
I'd say red, like
Solid.
dark red. Yeah.
I think a nice green. I'm into green in general.
What
I
kind
don't
of green?
Little
Dark.
Christmas moment.
foresty kind of
Yeah.
green. I'm not like a huge like outdoorsy like need to be outside or anything like that. I don't wear a lot of green, but I like it.
I mean, our house is
Yeah.
dark
Yeah, that was your idea.
with black trim.
Which I like.
Oh, yeah.
Both of us right there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So as Glory said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you guys like to plug?
Just listen to us everywhere you can. If you go to deadposey.com, you can find everything about us besides our social security numbers.
And
Okay.
That's good.
exactly, people will fully see this, but we are doing a video for Dark Side where we're taking in fan footage of them like hanging out, driving, vertical footage, TikTok and Reels style. So
Singing
wants to
Dark
send
Side
us
to
stuff,
the
singing
camera.
Dark Side or hanging with their friend, driving, making out, dancing, whatever. So
But we're gonna put them in our official music
like
video
in
for
a
Dark
horizontal
Side.
video, like boom, boom, boom. So
Yeah.
It's fucking
Deadline like what, November 4th?
I think in like next week, yeah. But we're always open. Doors are always open at Dead Posey.
And we're gonna be doing a live stream before the end of the
Yeah,
year.
we're still planning that.
Playing our whole set. So we're planning that right now. Just because we obviously had our album release in LA, so all of our fans everywhere else obviously couldn't go to that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a live stream show.
Until we get
for
on some
everyone to be able to
tours
see.
next year, which
Yeah.
is the plan.
But keep an eye out for that.
Hell yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Silas. Guys, been Dead Posey, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.